Hey guys, welcome back to Western New York Weather. So today, instead of doing a forecast where I say, oh, it's gonna be nice, you could tell that from outside. I'm gonna do more of a historical video. This does include Western New York, but not as much, say, as I do another Outlook. I mean, not Outlook, but historical video. Because if there's nothing really to cover, why do it? I can tell you right now, it's gonna be nice for the next couple of days. Models do agree with this. So let's go on. So today we're gonna be covering the 2011 super outbreak of tornadic activity. This also did cover flooding. This did cover straight line wind damage here. Um. All right. So let's start. This storm system was formed around the 22nd, maybe the 21st. It's around that date. Then, as this system tracked across the U.S., this system was very, very, very destructive. With like weekly rainfall totals around that 20-inch mark. Some places around that 16, 14 inches, and some of these bigger towns and cities. Uh, April 25th, thunderstorms of high wind swept parts, like a small derecho kind of thing, through Ohio, doing 80-mile-per-hour straight wind damages, damaging trees, roofs, power lines. Maybe a house collapsed, maybe an old barn could have collapsed. All possible. Maybe an isolated tornado was in that mix too. Strong thunderstorms were also reported with heavy downpours, with heavy flooding in the Syracuse area. Rain also around the Adirondack Mountains. The 81 was briefly shut down. Uh, uh, Area at traffic hour at the State of University of New York, Upstate New York Medical University. Did also close due to flooding in the lobby. Heavy rain combined with the snowmelt in Vermont caused a big flooding risk in Vermont, where some places got up to the 5 inches in the 2 days the storm was in the area. Numerous roads were closed, some being completely washed out, some bridges were like destroyed or damaged. Um, it was also a flooding threat with that tornadic threat down south. Farther south, we did have flooding, and we see it's considered to be worse than the flooding in Gustav, which you can see here is second most devastating hurricane of the 2008 cyclone hurricane season. I won't say 2008 was well known as say if like 2005 or 2021 was pretty impactful. Uh, Still, places got up to 10 inches of rain. Even if you think many roads were closed during the flooding there, the flooding was mitigated somewhat by a significant drought that was there before the storms. This system came through. We can see this if you go here, the 7-day totals. We're looking around that 10th to the quarter of an inch of rain. I know Buffalo is not doesn't have a lot of rain because it's still that summer fall transition period, but 10 inches is around this yellow part, a lot of these are lots of tropical rains that do these downpours. You can see this is from Francine, tropical Francine, putting down 3 to 6 inches. Some places going up to that 7-inch mark. Some over here, there's another tropical cyclone that's likely to form here. It's gonna drop 10 inches or so of rain. It's possible, but we don't get a lot of rain here, but 20 inches of rain, that is a lot of rain in a 7-day period. Flooding can destroy a lot of things. If it floods, don't drive into it. Don't drown, turn around. Severe thunderstorms, they're not really tornadoes. They were reported north of northern Ontario. On the evening of the 26th going through the 28th. Those 2 days, 3 days, several injuries, several deaths from tornadoes, even non-tornadic. There's a lot of deaths with the straight line winds occurred early on the 26th. So this was all types. This was a heavy rainfall, flooding risk. This had a derecho kind of scenario. This also had a strong tornadoes. Violent tornadoes did form, and some of these tornadoes, debatably, some of these are strongest tornadoes you can think of. Rainsville, Philadelphia, some tornadoes no. Death toll. A lot of these EF4, EF5 tornadoes happened in Alabama and Mississippi, and that's where you see the highest death totals. Alabama got hit really hard with these tornadoes, and even from the federal government gave lots of money, giving federal assistance in the state of Alabama. Looking here, this is rainfall totals in that 7-day period. As I said, we only got like an inch or so, but even some places in Chautauqua, some places upstate, looking at that too. Some of this orange is around that 4 inches. All this pink here is around that 10+ inch mark. I wouldn't rule out maybe one of these 20+ inch somewhere embedded in this pink, or even in the purple. Let's go to the tornadic side of this. During the 26th-28th tornado outbreak, the April 26th is this orange, this April 27th is the pink, which is the most destructive out of each day. 40 F5s, 319 fatalities, spanning from New York all the way to Mississippi, Louisiana, pretty wide margin. But 207 tornadoes were confirmed that touched down, and some of them, 5 tornadoes, 2,000+ injuries. See, April 28th and 26th, you only had 9 total. This day, you had 2, almost at that 3,000 mark. It just was very destructive. Some of these had EF4s, but April 27th, I think April 26th had a couple EF3s, and so is April 28th. But one tornado I like to mention is the Joplin tornado. I didn't include because it wasn't really in this outbreak, but did happen in 2011. We looked at the numbers. Largest hail size was around that 4.5. To be destructive, it has to be 1.75. 4.5 is very, very destructive. Maximum rating of a tornado was EF5 strength. a 3-day outbreak that recorded 360 tornadoes, and it broke many records. It costliest tornado event, with totals reaching $10 billion. Uh, it was only it rivals the 1974 outbreak, which is very, very, very big, very bad tornado outbreak. Um, so let's look what SPC said. SPC did issue a high risk in this corridor in Alabama, Mississippi, parts of Tennessee. High risk are very rare. Um, well, that's the thing. I would also like to note. We could also look up SPC's website. Um, you can look up past weather on here. It's very cool. There are lots of changes to the National Weather Service, like um, the new issuance of a tornado emergency tag. You had the PDS, which is officially adapted around that time. You didn't have this tornado emergency. Some places, if you go back to my tags video, I like to look at it was very informational for me to look at this. But if we go past outlooks, you can look at the archive. Say 2011. Say the 27th. 2011, and this tells me everything that was issued. Day 1 convective outlooks. If you look, high risk. This was the day, I think day before, but this kept going this way. I think this one, yeah. But showed this high risk had a hatch rate 6, like wind damage 60% hatch. This is the max you can get with this outbreak. 45-inch house, like 45% housing, one of the biggest percentage you can get. It was really destructive. There was a sounding at BMX with, crazy numbers. We got lots of shear. We got lots of cape. Supercell complex at 35. That is an insane number of signal tornado parameter at 10, which was really intense too. It was just a really big outbreak. Wind profile was there. The critical angle was just really, really crazy. Yeah. It was a really intense outbreak. Some tornadoes to note. Philadelphia, as I said, Philadelphia, Mississippi, not Philadelphia. Everyone knows of. Part of that 2000, it was the largest tornado outbreak on record. One of these, a lot of these, the EF5, EF4 strength. It was on the ground for 30 minutes. It traveled around 28 to 30 miles through at least 4 counties, at least 2 deaths, and 1 million. This tornado alone caused $1 million in damages, within that $10 billion of damages from this EF5. This picture of observed tornado is a very big. I won't even say it looks like a wedge to me. It's a big rope. It was just so big. This is the path of the tornado. This is all EF4, EF5 damage. Look at that. I'm looking at the damage outlook. The damage. Right here, some EF5 damage. If you go back, there was ground scarring, tremendous, because how intense this tornado is. We got and damage indicator. There's lots of things destroyed with this tornado. Look at this car. If we open it over here, it was wrapped around this. So sorry. You can tell how strong this tornado is and damage indicator. Damage indicators a reason for even though in the National Weather Service, it really depends on the person who's looking at the tornado damage, or the surveyor rather deems it. And sometimes this car being thrown at this tree at probably 200, 300 plus miles per hour, just destroys it. Well built. You gotta think about well built houses. Well built frame homes were nearly swept off its foundation, to its concrete slab. The intensity of this tornado. Yeah, it was a crazy tornado. There's 4 more EF5 tornadoes. There's more EF4 tornadoes too that could have been deemed EF5 damage, but EF5 is very special. To a refresher, the enhanced Fujian scale, it's around that 200 plus mile per hour scale. One of the most powerful tornadoes. Is incredible damage, more El Reno, some tornadoes. Those were in 2013. Some tornadoes the 1999 Bridge Creek Moore tornado, one of the most destructive tornadoes of all time, debatably the strongest. You can make a case for each tornado in this list for being one of the strongest. There's some this year was the Greensville tornado in Kansas, the most recent one, not the 2007 one. Yeah, it's crazy. Again, we see the photo. Here's another one, the 2011 Heckleburg-Phil Campbell tornado. This is the second one out of 4. Smithsville, Rangeville, Philadelphia, and is this Philadelphia? Yeah. Sorry. This is one other EF5. Did quickly in Alabama. Did quickly reach EF5 intensity. As I hit Phil Campbell, it's a town. It's a wedge. I don't think I have this photo, but it's a wedge tornado. Very, very not good. Looking at radar, it was very close to radar. It was not that far from radar, but it has a classic tornado hook echo with some of this great inflow and outflow. It was a very when you have a great echo on radar like this, knowing there is a tornado on the ground, it indicates a really strong tornado. It doesn't always happen. there are tornadoes even on this list that shown the just like a big blob of cell. I mean, most of it's like a line for like strong tornadoes. The July 10th tornadoes in Western New York. If we look back, one of my most popular videos for some odd reason. It had like lines. I mean, not lines, but like I guess a line. It had a kind of a hook, but it wasn't as strong as this. Yeah, it was just really. This one was a duration of 2 hours. This one was. I don't think. Yeah, this one was only 30 minutes. Tornadoes can even happen for like 20, even 10 minutes. Most tornadoes up here, we hear the tornado is usually shorter. That's also not necessarily true too. You could see a EF0 for like 30 minutes, an hour. Really depends on the tornado. This is a long-lived, violent tornado. This one tops the death total in Alabama. One of the two tornadoes that was EFI on that day. This tornado alone caused like 1/10 of the 2011 outbreak. 7th costliest tornado in U.S. history, and that is very dark. This made it the deadliest tornado at the time until a month later, Joplin, one of the strongest tornadoes ever too. It only had a month. I think this tornado was also really undervalued. No one really covers this. The foundations that was swept away completely in Hackleburg. Phil Campbell of multiple houses swept away. Grass scarring on the hills from hillsides. Look, if you look here, it was so intense. You can't really see the grass no more. No more houses. There used to be a house right here. The trees all gone. Very, very impactful tornado. This was a longer tornado, but it strengthened up really quickly and killed a lot of people. This is what happens when when you burn fossil fuels and you get these bigger, deadlier outbreaks. 2020. Then because of the climate change, people don't think it exists. Then explain to me this outbreak. How did it get to this extent? How powerful the storm system was? Tell me how rapid intensification wasn't a thing in the past and now is. It's unreal. Yeah, look at this damage. You get the radar outlook. Houses completely swept. You have the concrete slab and you get your basement. And that was pretty much it. All your belongings destroyed or gone. This one, Smithville, I think either between Rainsville, Smithville is one of the most powerful tornadoes. It was a wedge tornado. It does say that. Catastrophic damage, 23. This wasn't as costly as the Phil Campbell tornado. It only had $14 million. That's still a lot of money. I'm saying it's not, but it was a lot of money. 137 injuries with 23 fatalities. It wasn't really a killer, but it was really strong. You got this, look at this, wedge. It was observed. So on velocity, you have this hook. It was relatively close on radar. So you got this hook, you get this couplet right here, creating this, and crazy rotation, crazy input outflow to create this powerful tornado. The damage. This is the concrete slab. It was slabbed away. This, it was, you can see in the background you got like some houses still. This one's just gone. You can see how small tornadoes get in terms of the size of like hurricanes. Hurricanes could take up half the Gulf or so. Let's see. Where did they go? There's so many tabs open. It was a 41 minute. It was a shorter tornado than the last tornado, but it's still 41 minutes. Still pretty big. There's lots of cape or convective available potential energy. You might hear that in some of my videos. You got 2,500 to 3,000. It did create a long track the F3 earlier. But I forgot to open this one. This is one of the biggest pictures. Look at this. This used to be a truck. Now it's not. It was like a cube now. It was a very, very violent tornado. Yeah. It was a really bad tornado. I say this one, Hackleberg was strong. I don't think it was the strongest ever. I think Tsuuna was also underrated. It was the EF4, not the EF5 status we all wanted. Not the right terms. This was a multi-vortex or multiple vorticities on a tornado. And this, you can see, this is also like a rope / wedge. When you get to, it's kind of a rope. Rope is like thin. What people predict what a tornado is like. It was EF4 intensity. This cost a lot more because this was in a populated area of $2 billion. Two tornadoes alone costed $3 billion dollars. Very, very that's a costly. This tornado was also very long-lived and also violent. 1 hour and 31 minutes. So between the 4:45 to 6:15 time period, so around when people are getting out of work. Yeah. You know, you need all these moisture, strong shear, focus, large scale ascent. It's just, looking at velocity, I don't know if I have this. Look at this. It created a hook signature. The velocity shows it here. Very strong velocity couplet. It's just, and sometimes on CC, correlation coefficient, you might see debris balls where debris has been flown into the air. Tsuuna did damage like this. Look at this. Taking trees out, taking roofs, destroying parts of houses here in this photo. This one has a better picture. This one just destroying all of these houses, swept out. I don't see like where you could see the ground scarring, but maybe like can't tell. But lots of strong tornadoes did have this ground scarring in this apartment complex. You could see where an estimate path like went this way, went this way, went this way. Very destructive tornado. These used to be apartment complexes. I did have it up. Um, it was a very strong tornado. It was in a populated area. This did have tornado debris signature, which means when it happens, most like a tornado warning, or upgrade on a tornado warning issued, tornado emergency even. You can see on correlation coefficient where you can see stuff being flung in the air. It's people call it debris balls. Tornado emergency. I already did this. Depends on the weather service what qualifies as a tornado emergency. Some have it, some doesn't. It was a very, very strong tornado. Like, look at this. Very strong. Oh. I would. Last one. I think this is the strongest one. Rainsville. People will bash me. You can bash me in the comments. But I think Rainsville is the strongest. Injuries. Unknown. We do not know how many injuries. Sometimes injuries could count as scrape or cut. Where, you just don't know. This was a very quick tornado within the hour. 36-minute tornado. Multi-vorticity tornadoes. Remember, multi-rotating columns. Remained on the ground for 36 minutes. Occurring for 36 miles. In DeKalb County. Causing 25 deaths. We don't know how much injuries, but there was a good amount of injuries, but estimated around $10 million in damages, not like $2 billion as the other tornado had, the last tornado had. Were severe ground scarring. This was rated EF5. Out of this outbreak, I think this is the strongest. I think it does rival the 1999 Birch Creek Moore tornado for sure. Resulted in multiple fatalities and injuries. Extensive tree damage, complete obliteration of structures, extensive damage to property, and it really dissipated near Rising Falls, Georgia. Rare high risk was issued. You can see on radar here. Yeah, this. I don't know if I have this. Ground scarring. You can see possible ground scarring in some of these photos over here. But look at this. Destroyed houses. That's crazy. This was a house at one point, or a church rather. Bricks just gone. This was flattened from EF5. Yeah. Yeah. It's gone. The original building is gone. I don't know if it was Mountain View Baptist Church. I don't know if it's there. Look at the radar. There was a hook this is not really, this is regular reflectivity, not high res. But this is DeKalb County, and you can see this did create a tornado, a hook signature, probably a CC drop, but some radars weren't as good. Nowadays, you have like apps like Radar Omega. You have apps like uh, uh, the other app. Both those two apps. The other app. Sorry. Radar Scope. You have those two apps. You can buy off the Play Store or Apple Store, whatever you use. Get them. Back then, they didn't have this. They had V. They had the earlier version of V3. I forgot what it's called. They still use some thing of it, but it's special because you can issue warnings from it. No regular one can get that. Specially made for National Weather Service. You know, I don't think there'll be a lot more tornado emergencies if kids had the power to issue that type of warning. This was a school bus. You still have the engine block, parts of the engine, but parts of the bumper still somewhat attached. Got a flat tire. Look on the back. You just have the chassis. That's it. All the back part of the bus gone, just destroyed. You can see damage, tree damage. I don't know if that's damage, but it looks like that is like collapsed. Yeah. Okay, it's a nice day. But look at this damage. Unreal. Again, look at this chart. I want to go through the events on April 26th. Let's actually start from the beginning. So, these are all the tornadoes confirmed. There's one in, the closest one is probably in the one in Ontario, Providence, where some probably the strongest ones were near Oswego County. So there's only one EF3 on the April 25th. This was more of a wind damage strat. Last at EF0s, EF1s. Nothing destructive. You got an EF2 here. Some things were destroyed. This, EF2 against, Smithsville. You have heard Smithsville. You haven't heard, like, EF0. You don't $0 in damage. $500 in damage. But as you get, like, to some of these bigger ones, it goes up in cost. EF2s. I mean, EF3s, this one has the first death of the tornado outbreak, you could say. Maybe this was considered EF3 damage with 9er range to slightly effective to badly damaged. Some I won't rule out were completely destroyed. Several outbuildings will constructed barn was destroyed. Church buildings were badly damaged. Vehicles were piled up in a parking lot. So, like, I'm talking about EF3, and this did cost a lot of money. This one alone, EF3 value, not even EF4, not even EF5. Sorry, caused $23 million in damages. This day had not a lot of tornadoes. Only 42 tornadoes. The next day, 55. 8 more, not much more. This is the precursor. EF0. You get EF3 at Campbell Airfield. This strong tornado destroyed lots of heavy vehicle damage. Some buildings again destroyed, damaged. Some tornadoes were slightly touched. You got lots of EF0s, EF1s. 50 yards, barely touchdown. Brief, very brief. Over on open country. I wonder if this was like observed on radar or observed in person, because there's caused no damage. How do you know there's a tornado? Yeah, this one, weak tornado to like EF3, EF4, EF5 damage. This was a long-lived ledge, but it was only EF2 damage. Moderate damage. Several barns and carports were destroyed. The April 27th event. From 55 tornadoes, okay, not throughout the day, $200, 0, to 216, 15 EF4, EF5 tornadoes, in total. I would consider major, I guess, EF2 plus. I'd say 15. I'm not doing the math. I mean, you get EF0, but like, you start off a couple EF2s, EF0, EF3, EF3. You've seen these more often. EF2, EF1, 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 EF2, EF3, EF3s. Then keep on going. Get some of these tornadoes. EF0, EF0. It comes down to EF0, the EF1s. Maybe EF2 here and there. Then you get EF3. Strong tornado. Southeast Oxford. West northwest of Denmark. Not the country, but town somewhere west. East southeast of Springsdale, Lafayette County in Missouri, Mississippi, not Missouri. Sorry. Even some of these tornadoes, there's one death. Fatality occurred in a vehicle that was impacted by debris. There's lots of reports you can find. Collegedale, northern Cleveland, in Tennessee, not Cleveland, the city. Then you got 3 F3 zeros. Not much, nothing, minor damage. Then you get the Philadelphia tornado, one of the strongest tornadoes, 1 million, 3 deaths, Then you get this EF0 again in this Cleveland County, Hopwell, and Cleveland. Actually, it's a city, Cleveland, Tennessee, not Cleveland, Ohio. Sorry, in Bradley County. I was wrong. My bad. Yeah, Hamilton and Bradley. I am sorry, I misspoke. This was EF5, very damaging. Got this EF0, then you get this EF4, Coleman. I didn't put in this list, I know, but it was still a very impactful tornado. Same thing with this EF3. Anything EF3 plus, then you get a break from these major tornadoes until you get this, EF2. Then EF0, then you get this. This was Hackleburg-Phil tornado. This was a very destructive, very strong tornado. I think it's underrated. Most people think, oh, Joplin, El Reno, Philadelphia, 99 more, Birch Creek tornado. Even more recent tornadoes, Greensville, Kansas. Either one of them, honestly. They got a break from EF1, EF2. Then get some few of them. Let's see, like 40 yards, 37 meters, only two. It's unreal. Few chew-ins were broken. Not much. As a water spout, remember, you have 0. Then you get 2 big tornadoes. You got this tornado, Picklesville, Guntersville, whatever you call it, whatever you want. It was EF4. I think this is overshadowed by Smithville, obviously. It was it's down. Smithville is not really a populated area. I think a good chunk of them left since Smithville tornado. Catastrophic damage. Picklesville. It was still an impactful tornado for sure. But it doesn't really have I wouldn't call it anything big. It was big. I'm trying to word it as I sound. The tornado obviously important. 54 people were injured. Then 13 people were killed. I don't wanna disrespect them, but very overshadowed by Smithville, I gotta say. Oops. It goes through Smithville, very destructive. You get this EF3. It's a little more destructive. I mean, Smithville has their own fucking article. Then you get this EF4. It has its own section. It's big enough to have in the EF4. Some of these EF4s are big enough to have sections, but it doesn't have its own article. And some of these EF4s may have been forgotten. I mean, 14 deaths on this one too. 13 deaths here. 50 people were injured on this one too. Yeah. This one was storm spotted. 0.2 of a mile. Very, very weak. You get this EF3. Another EF4. This again. Too soon, a tornado. Very destructive. $2.4 billion. 64 deaths. 1,500 people were injured. Very, very destructive. After a brief while, you have 0 EF1, so you get again, you got these tornadoes under $30,000 in damage. Sure, this one you got big EF4s like Tusaluna, but this one barely caused. I mean, $30,000 is a lot, but if it's under $30,000, I mean, this one only has a section and is causing $25 billion in damage. Get some EF3s. This one only 1 death, no injuries, so I guess that's good. 2 EF3s, EF2, EF1, and another EF4. Part of Ralph tornado. It's big. It was a big one known. I didn't include it because I don't think it was that big. You got EF4, or you got the last EF5 tornado. You got EF3 in Fayette, but in Hubbardsville. You got quiet, then you have Rainsville. Rainsville, most strongest tornado. I feel like in this outbreak, I think it does really rival the Bridge Creek Moore tornado for sure. Um, yeah, I just it was a really very very destructive damage, 25 deaths, injuries, substantial amount. Even though it was as costly as other tornadoes, you know. And you got there's the F1 here. This one cost $300 million in damage, 350 rather. You got the Shoal Creek Valley tornado. I didn't include it. I didn't think it was that strong. I think it was a lower EF4 ranking than I would say Tusaluna. Where is it? I think Tusaluna was a higher EF4. Right here. Where is it? It's somewhere. I'm not gonna look. We got this one had 22 deaths. So 85 people were injured. But you still have these small tornadoes that cause, the scale they go, these tornadoes are producing still considerable amount of wind damage. And we go down to here, EF4 and Ringgold, Cleveland, Tennessee. Cleveland, Tennessee was mentioned a lot in this. 335 people are injured and 20 deaths. There's a section on this, $68 million. You got Dunlap EF4 tornado or Spring City tornado or, Pikeville tornado. These tornadoes, you can't put a real name on it, but if they were that bad, and the closest city, Rainsville was got the most destruction, should get the name, in my opinion. It's only cause for deaths, only 4 more it should have, but well-built homes were completely leveled, destroyed. Vehicles and machinery were mingled. Roofs, houses were damaged, some destroyed. Power lines were down. 12 people were injured by the tornado. 10 in County and 2 in Rhea County. Got another EF4. Here, if we go look at it, the Lake Martin tornado. That is also a pretty big tornado. I didn't include it. I think those 4 I pick. Obviously I can't tell you enough that yeah, caused lots of damage. This tornado you can see it completely leveled. Then you got some EF3s, EF1s. As we come into night, you would see these EF1s, EF0s more often than these EF3s. You still have these. One of the last tornadoes of the day was this high-end EF3 in Greeny, Meansville. Heavy damage occurred in the Burnsville. There's also other tornadoes. Burnsville. There was a tornado in Burnsville. I think. So yeah, this was the most big outbreak day, and the 27th, 28th only had 1 EF3. Then you got 23 F1s. Got 47,000. And the first thing was the F3. That's it. All these are 2 or lower. Yeah. I mean, some of these are like 0.7th of a mile, 0.1. Like, this was a very brief tornado. Like, 0.01. Um, yeah. I just. It was only a 10 yard, and I didn't even cause. Um, was not even on the ground for that long, too. I was on the ground for like a minute or two. See, this one was on the ground for 2 minutes. This one I was not even on that ground for that long. Yeah. That's all I have. I don't want to do a forecast because I'll be saying the same thing I said yesterday. Like, sure, I could have done coverage on Francine. This is a. I also, I would say this is off topic, but I'm doing this. This is not real. I mean, yeah, you have 0, you have 1s. Okay. I'm gonna get some from New York. Let's see. I think I would do it. This is already 56 minutes long. Very, very destructive outbreak. I think it very, very insane outbreak. And this also caused flooding events rival to hurricanes. Yeah, it really, really affected a lot of people, killed lots of people, 200, 300 people. Only tornado related deaths are included. 24 are non-tornadic. Yeah. You could say that some of these smaller ones, Rangord, like they're still long duration, 20 casualties. You can see the ground scarring. 335 injuries. See again, 22 fatalities, 85. They have like a small part in this big 2011 outbreak, but Rainsville, some of these Sourceville, some of these like some of these big ones, Tucson, Birmingham. I want to include Flat Rock. I just didn't think. It's still a pretty big tornado. Smithville, pretty big. Hackleburg, Phil Kimball, tornado. Coleman, was pretty big. Philadelphia tornado was pretty big. Even this was a high end EF2 wedge tornado. Tornado emergency for EF2. I know, it was on the ground for 71 minutes, 130 knots, 4 fatalities, and 16 deaths. This is not rivaling Philadelphia, but it's still notable enough to get its own parts in this. 3 years later, 2 days after this tornado, violent EF4 touchdown west of Ferndale. Same path. That's crazy. Same path. Yeah. If you have any questions, please like and subscribe. This obviously took hour plus of the time to prepare. Look at all these tabs. Thanks for Wikipedia for providing this information and me giving more background, I guess. You can see all the reports. I forgot to show you. And you get some wind reports. 438 out of 207 out of 24. 292 tornado reports. Some of these affected the Western New York region. Some of these tornadoes were issued by Buffalo Buffalo National Weather Service office. Again, if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. I enjoyed making this video, and goodbye.